Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokemon Journeys episode 112, Homecoming, the Champion of Alola. This was the 1197th episode of the Pokemon anime, and only the third episode in Pokemon Journeys that has taken place in Alola. Before I dive straight into things, why not join my Discord server? The link is in the description. I've heard a few people recently tell me, wait, I didn't even know you had a Discord server, even though it's been in the description of every single one of my videos for over a year now. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get straight into this episode. The episode opens with a quick recap of the previous episode. Wow, what a trash episode, right everyone? Sorry, I'm still a little rattled from the response I got to my last review. Now that Lily's family has been reunited, everyone is headed to Alola. This includes Chloe, who has never been to Alola before. She is especially excited to talk to Lana, Ash's friend who also has an Eevee. When they arrive on Melee Island, there's a feast prepared by Mallow's family in honor of Mon's return. At first I thought they were throwing the celebration for Ash, but no, this is about Mon's family finally returning. Lily's classmates are ecstatic to see her back, and I love the scene of everyone and their Pokemon celebrating. Hey, where's Kiawe, by the way? Hobbs is back. He can't contain his emotions, finally seeing Mon and Lusamine again, while Faba and Wick are also caught up in their feelings. Another member of the Aether Foundation who is happy to see Mon is Rotom Dex, who introduces himself, and I really love the small detail of how Mon responded in kind, even adding the Roto to his words, just like Rotom Dex. Enough sappy introductions and reunions, let's eat! Everyone is enjoying themselves, and that includes all of Ash, Go, and Ash's classmates' Pokemon. Chloe and Lana's Eevee meet each other, and they are absolutely adorable, but that goes without saying. Chloe approaches Lana and asks her about her Eevee. They have a conversation about how Chloe doesn't know what her Eevee wants to evolve into, and asks what Lana wants Sandy to evolve into. Lana's response surprises Chloe, as Lana says that there's another path that an Eevee can take, and that's staying as an Eevee forever. Lana brings up Ash's Pikachu as an example of remaining unevolved, and this opens Chloe's mind up to a whole new possibility that she hadn't previously considered. This was a pretty quick scene, but it accomplished exactly what I wanted it to, and I can't wait to see what Chloe and Eevee's next move is. We switch over to Go, who was wondering where Kiawe is. Mallow and Sophocles explain how as soon as they told him Ash was coming back with Lily, he went off to train on his own, and we see this in a flashback. Back in the present, Gladion is as cool as ever, saying that's just like Kiawe, while Ash is getting fired up at the thought of battling his old friend. Then Lily congratulates Ash on winning his promotion match against Raihan, saying that she watched it with her brother, and I love Gladion losing his cool when Lily called him out like that. Mallow goes on to say that everyone in Melee was watching too. They even gathered at the Pokemon school to cheer him on together. While everyone is congratulating Ash, Gladion heads off on his own, saying that he needs to train too, and he's even got his Beast Ball with him. We'll see what happens with Gladion in a little bit, but for now we cut to later that evening when Ash is informed that he'll be taking part in a battle royal tomorrow. With all the manly men talking about their battling, Burnett and Chloe are both fawning over how cute Lei is. Typical Pokemon anime. Go asks what a battle royal is, which was funny to me since 2 episodes ago his trial mission was literally identified as a battle royal, but to be fair, this is a battle type that Go has never heard of before, and Kukui explains it to, hey, are they even paying attention over there? Ash wants to know who he is battling, and Professor Kukui reveals that he is one of Ash's opponents. Ash is fired up at the thought of battling the Masked Royal, and we even get to see them both hit the enjoy pose together on top of the couch. Go and Chloe react exactly how I would expect them to, having absolutely no context to what these weirdos are talking about. Kukui says that he won't be battling as the Masked Royal tomorrow, as he doesn't want to take any of the spotlight away from Ash, since this event is all about him. He's Alola's champion, after all. That's right, not just the Alola League champion, but Alola's champion. Everyone is excited for tomorrow's battle royal, and special shout out to Rowlet for continuing to sleep through all the excitement. Cut to the next day as Kiawe arrives at the battle royal dome, and inside we see just how many people came to watch this battle, including Hao and his Decidueye, and even Team Skull. I couldn't believe Guzmo's in this episode. I love seeing him again. Alright, let's get this party started. It's time for the first Alola League Champion Homecoming Battle Royal. The MCs of this event are Faba and Wick. I have no idea why, but they were both pretty into it. Time to introduce the competitors. First, it's Ash and Pikachu, and then there's Kukui and Incineroar. Next is Kiawe and Marowak, who they introduced as Akala Island's Kahuna in the making. A nice touch to add in that detail about Kiawe working towards his goal. Lastly, it's Gladion, who they introduce as the Alola League runner-up. And wait, he's battling with Lily? In the stands, Lily tries to explain this to her friends, who are both confused and excited. We flash back to Gladian's training session from earlier, and after his Pokemon exchange a few attacks, they all turn to see Nihilego fidgeting around, clearly wanting to get in on the battling itself. So yeah, Gladian is entering with a shiny Ultra Beast. Alright then. The bell rings and the competitors spring into action. Each trainer has only one Pokemon and the last one standing wins. Ash quickly finds himself on the defensive as all three of his opponents target Pikachu with their first attacks. Even Ash's friends in the crowd note how he's getting ganged up on, but that's just the nature of a battle royal. After they all try to attack Pikachu again, Ash hasn't used Quick Attack to dodge, much to the chagrin of his competition. The pace of the battle is frenetic at this point, but Ash and Pikachu are doing a good job avoiding damage while also being able to dish out a little bit of offense. Kukui comments on how Ash has gotten even stronger, but Gladian and Kiawe are quick to say that they've been training as well. Next, we get a creative scene as all four competitors launch their next attack, and the only thing I would like to point out here, besides the art style, would be how Gladian does go this entire battle calling Nihilego Lily, which is really weird if I'm being honest. After the next sequence of attacks, Nihilego breaks things up by landing a Meteor Beam, which if I'm being honest is a move I had never even heard of prior to this episode. Anyways, Kiawe sees this as an opening to attack someone other than Ash, and Marowak drills Nihilego with a Shadow Bone. These two start jawjacking about how they're gonna be the one to defeat Ash, and Marowak is pretty quickly able to land an Iron Head on Nihilego, which is enough to knock it out. Kind of a surprise on paper that an Ultra Beast of all things would be first out, but this was Gladian and Nihilego's first time battling together, and it's not like Nihilego spent a ton of its time with Mon battling in the Crown Tundra. Speaking of Mon, he's impressed at seeing how much his son has grown, and this was the last we really got to see from the Aether family in this episode. Back to the battle, we're down to 3 Pokemon left, and Kiawe is ready to face Ash with his full power, and anytime anyone brings up full power, you know it's time for a Z move. I always love seeing Kiawe use a Z move, and once he and Marowak are ready, they send an Inferno Overdrive straight at Pikachu, who follows Ash's commands and sends a Thunderbolt down to repel itself off the ground and away from the Z move. This tactic was incredibly effective, as Pikachu basically dodges the entire Z move by getting rocketed up into the sky. By the way, how was Incineroar totally out of the range of that move? Let's not sweat the small stuff and just move on. Kukui takes the initiative and attacks them both with Darkest Lariat, and while Pikachu dodges with Quick Attack, Kiawe attempts to face it head on with Shadow Bone. Ouch, yeah, that didn't work out well. Another one bites the dust, and now we're down to 2. As the battle takes a natural pause as everyone regroups from that last knockout, Kukui asks Ash if it reminds him of the good old days, and Ash responds affirmatively, and we get a flashback of the legendary exhibition battle between these two. Hopefully Ash vs. Leon can at least be as close to as good of a battle as this was. I have to give a huge shout out to some stuffs here because I absolutely love the way they faded in the subtitles in this part. As Ash is coming back from this flashback, he starts hearing the entire Battle Royal Dome cheering for him. Even his classmates are cheering on their champion. This was pretty cool to see Ash acknowledged in this way, as Go and Chloe revel in all the support that Ash is getting. This moment really hammered home how Ash isn't just some rising star from Kanto, but he's in fact Alola's champion, and he's representing the entire region. Kiawe and Gladian throw in their own encouragement, with Gladian telling Ash to win the Masters tournament. Finally, they both tell him to use his full power. And what did I say earlier about what happens when people start talking about full power? Oh yeah, it's time for another Z move. I always love this iconic Z-move pose, and don't forget about Ash's opponent. Kukui isn't going down without a fight, as he readies a malicious Moonsault. And once both Pokemon are ready, we get to see the Z-move clash between 10 million volt Thunderbolt and malicious Moonsault. Massive explosion incoming, and once it's all over... Wait, did they just fade away from that scene without showing us the winner of the battle?
That's rather unfortunate, isn't it?
What? How could they just do that? What? Okay, let's keep going. Ash and Pikachu are together on the beach, and Kukui comes to join them. When he asks Ash about what's on his mind, Ash just responds by saying that he's glad he came to Alola. Then, out of nowhere, Tapu Koko appears before them. Tapu Koko acknowledges Ash and then does this weird dance thing, which Kukui explains is Tapu Koko praying for Ash's success. I'm not sure how Tapu Koko knows about the Masters tournament, but hey, Tapu Koko is almost like Ash's personal guardian deity, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. With that, Tapu Koko flies off across the horizon, making this picturesque scene even more beautiful, and the episode comes to an end with Ash feeling all the support of Alola behind him as he heads towards the Masters tournament. Wow, a lot to discuss with this episode. I'll give another quick shout out to my Discord server, as I actually posted a video exclusively to my Discord today of my reaction watching this episode live. I don't usually make reaction videos, but I decided to give a special treat to my friends over on Discord. Anyways, I want to try and keep this discussion kind of tight since this video is already long enough as it is, and I gave most of my thoughts about this episode in the breakdown, so I'll keep things concise here. The reunion elements of this episode were great, even the new connections like Rotom, Dex, and Mon were fun, and I loved how Lana really opened Chloe's eyes up up to the possibility of her Eevee staying unevolved. Lana comparing it to Ash and Pikachu was very fitting, as those two were the real stars of this episode. I thought it was an interesting choice making the majority of this episode be spent on a battle royal. Like, there was so much stuff going on in this episode, but it somehow ended up being almost like a battle-focused episode, but I guess that's not a bad thing. What was a bad thing in my opinion was how they just stopped the battle with an inconclusive ending. What was the point of dedicating so much time to this battle if they weren't going to show us a winner? Okay, even though I don't like that finish to the battle, I do understand what they were going for with this battle royal. This was an awesome way to showcase how great of a trainer Ash has become, as well as how loved and respected he is by the people of Alola. I have seen and heard multiple people say they literally cried during the scene where everyone was chanting "Champion" at Ash, so clearly this was a powerful moment. It didn't strike me to that same extent, not sure if that's because I'm just a cold, emotionless robot, or if it ties into how I don't really care one way or another if Ash is recognized by the public or not. Some people tend to get really torn up whenever people don't recognize Ash, and get frustrated when he is continually referred to as just some rising star that people have never heard of before. This has never personally bothered me, so it's not like this champion moment was really all that gratifying to me. It was cool, but just not the coolest moment ever like it was for some people. I will say though that this entire episode did make Ash feel like a proper champion, and I think we needed that ahead of the Masters tournament. Heck, this is the first time Ash himself has ever felt like a champion, well, aside from back in the day when he still had a bit of an ego and was fresh off winning the Orange League.
After all, I am in the Orange League Hall of Fame, so winning a little local tournament like this should be easy. Pika pika! Now my reputation as an Orange League champion and one of the top 16 at the Indigo Plateau's on the line.
With all of that said, I really liked this episode a lot. It had its flaws, and as per usual, they crammed a lot into one episode. Some moments maybe didn't get the proper time they deserved, but overall, I don't have too much to complain about. I'm giving this episode an 8.5 out of 10 rating. And this just continues Journey's strong streak of awesome episodes back to back to back lately. And I think the next episode will continue this trend, and we already saw a preview of this a few weeks back. It's Go's last trial mission, so the pressure is on for him to clear it so he can qualify for Project Mew. In this preview, he tells Ash that he wants to do this one alone, and I actually hope Ash doesn't appear in the next episode at all, just so Go can have the full spotlight on him. He'll be joined at what looks like the Split Decision Ruins by Gary, along with Lila and Shunya, the two antagonistic characters introduced in episode 110. The title for this episode makes it seem like the trial mission involves catching Regidrago and Regieleki, so I mean, I guess I can really only predict that Go is going to catch one of them next week, and I think at the end of the day, the final three chasers will be Go, Gary, and Horace. That's not the only preview we've got to talk about though, as they also put out a special preview for the Masters tournament. I'll be honest, there's not a lot of information we can glean from this preview, but that's totally fine with me. You guys know I like to know as little information as possible when it comes to future episodes. The bulk of this preview was going over each of the competitors, and we got confirmation that Alon is once again using Mega Evolution, and we'll get to see his Mega Charizard X once again. A crucial detail I wanted to point out was how in some of these battle scenes, the screens in the background were blank. If this was an official battle, the scoreboard would be on screen at all times, so I don't think any of the matchups we saw in this preview are actually indicative of what matchups we will see in the actual Masters tournament. If anything, the scenes we're seeing in this preview may actually be a tip-off of what battles won't be happening. The last 10 seconds or so of this preview did show some new and interesting stuff though, such as Hop making his main series debut. I can't wait to see him fanboying over Leon while Go fanboys over Ash. It looks like Ash's old Pokemon will be watching the tournament from back in Pallet Town. Wait, is that Tracy making an actual return? Oh my god, highlight of this entire episode, special preview, you name it. I love seeing Tracy again. Last thing to really point out in this preview is whose Gigantamax Rillaboom is this? I can only imagine it's Leon, since I don't anticipate anyone besides he and Ash using Gigantamax, except for maybe Lance, but why would he have a Rillaboom? That's it for the special preview. This looks like it was some kind of introductory episode to the Masters tournament that it was previewing, and not the actual tournament battles. Thankfully, that means there's still time for me to post some videos previewing the Masterclass, and wow, have I got some good ones coming. I've been super busy with real life stuff lately, but this week I hope to release 2 collabs I'm doing with like 8 or 9 other YouTubers. I think you guys will love these videos, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't be afraid to click that join link to my Discord server down in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.